that is superficial, immediate in me a profound reflection. The wedge, in its very essence, is a symbol of penetration, division and decoding, a conceptual key that invites one to decode what lies beneath the surface. Driven by this intuition, I began an exercise that was both playful and methodical. I drew lines extending from the base of each major monument towards the Queen's Pyramids, tracing invisible vectors across the landscape. Inversely, I drew lines from the corners of the Queen's Pyramids towards the cardinal directions to which they are aligned. The resulting pattern surprised me, and it did not resemble random geometry or arbitrary alignment. Instead, it began to take the form of something strangely familiar, a visual system that encodes and knows language. To my astonishment, the geometrical configuration bore a striking resemblance to Mesopotamian cuneiform script and the world's first known writing system. This resemblance was not vague or abstract. It was precise, structured, and evocative. Compelled by curiosity, I began comparing the symbols emerging from my diagram with characters from the Sumerian syllabary, and the match was undeniable. From this graphical convergence, a sequence of symbols emerged: JL, Z, and TH. Interpreting this through the Sumerian linguistic lens, I arrived at Gal Zu. TH is the name of thought that is described in the Book of Death. In the Book of Death, thought is called Tehu. So Gal Zu Tehu, a phrase that translates to the great vice thought. Originating from a simple geometrical experiment, was too compelling to dismiss as coincidence. It signaled something far deeper, a potential link between the primordial sacred knowledge encoded in the monuments of Giza and the mythological figure of thought, the god of writing, wisdom, and time. Such a finding requires that challenge conventional narrative of course. How is it possible that the Sumerian-like inscriptions appears encoded within the very geometry of this complex, the heartland of the hieroglyphs? Could this suggest that both systems of writing, cuneiform and hieroglyphic, were born from a common primordial matrix, a sacred phonetic language of the god, preserved in symbolic architecture and cosmological alignment? In light of the broader framework of my research, particularly the theory of an advanced civilization existing around 36,000 before Christ, this discovery takes on even greater significance. It reinforces the notion that Giza was not merely a dynastic funerary complex, but the epicenter of a lost global language, a cosmic grammar expressed through architecture, astronomy, and sacred symbols. The presence of cuneiform-like elements within this sacred geometry may indeed reflect an ununified initial code preserved in stone by a civilization that understood the power of language not only to communicate, but reality. Thought Gal Zu Tehu was more than a myth. He was the embodiment of this lost wisdom, and perhaps through the silent language of the pyramids, he is still speaking. While the phonetic language was yielding its initial result, and after astronomy had already provided astonishing insight into the profound relationships between the monuments and the stars, a new threshold in the investigation was reached, one that required a further elevation of perspective. It was now time to approach the pyramids